And then, three lads pull up on a motorbike. 2 of them get off, creep up the side of the door, bang it open, gun there, give us everything you got. And I was like, okay.
Okay, welcome back to the second part of the Hardest Geezer episode. Russ, we have a Reddit page.
Let's go.
And somebody commented on there this morning this story about you. So we want you to confirm or deny whether this is true.
Okay, I am nervous about this. This is a good one.
I can tell this is already something that you probably did. Hi, chaps. Great to see Worthing's finest is gracing the studio once again. Not quite, we're out in Tunisia. In anticipation of his first ever podcast since becoming a record breaker, can you please ask him to relive this wonderful story I have about Russ and how the mission might have never happened due to a potential arrest? Don't worry. A year and a half to 2 years ago, our friend was getting married, and of course, a stag do was booked in. When planning the stag, we had one slight issue: getting a group of 12 to Gatwick at 4 a.m.
Yes, I do remember this.
A lad in the group knows Russ and knew he had just acquired a minibus for a crazy mission he was planning and thought it would be worth an ask. Of course, being the absolute gent he is, he gladly accepted. The minibus was in no state for Africa, may I add. The lad in the front seat had to hold up a piece of rope to keep the door shut whilst heading up the M23. Anyway, we are cruising 20 minutes out when all of a sudden the bus lights up with blue flashing lights and sirens ringing. Into the lay-by we go. You remember this? Policeman knocks on the window stating the bus is wanted for theft and had been reported stolen. We're very confused. For Russ, however, the penny drops. Do you remember why the penny dropped?
Yeah, I just parked my van somewhere and forgot where I parked it. And then I phoned up the police. I was like, someone's robbed my van, boys.
He reported his own van stolen.
I was like, can't believe it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good. So yeah, he basically explains that. And then he says it was some way to start a great stag. What a man.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember the boys. That was a mad one. I think it was pretty sure we was at a petrol station. I think I remember it right. And then I was putting some petrol in the van. Undercover police just bottled up. Like, wow. And I was like, shit. But yeah, I just being an idiot, forgot where I left my van, didn't I?
Yeah, because
called the bed on my own van. Then I found my van, forgot to tell them that I found it, and they just started cruising about. And then they're obviously like the cameras and stuff. They pick it up the reg.
What did they say to you? That they were
like fully thought I'd robbed it. Yeah, they were like treating me like a armed like robbery. Like
you robbed your own van. Basically.
Yeah,
That's what you done.
Yeah.
Talking of police, mate. Out here in Africa,
yes,
you had a police escort. Is that right?
I had a lot of police escorts. Yeah.
Well, how's that work? Is that something you have to pay for? You have to book, or do they?
We never asked for any of them.
Right.
We didn't. Truth be told, we don't really like police escorts. Like we're obviously very grateful that they're trying to protect us. They want to make sure that we're looked after. But it's kind of feel bad because they chuck a load of police on it and they just have to follow me about everywhere I go.
When did that first start? Was this after the gunpoint?
Yeah. So we got robbed at gunpoint in Angola, and then it made like Angolan news, and then apparently the president was like, make sure they're sweet. So then from that moment on, everywhere I went was police.
Can you tell us about being robbed?
Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was a bit mad. I'd ran 20k, I think. Ran 20k, had my pit stop in the van like normal, just chatting shit with the boys in the van, and then all of a sudden...
Is this night time or?
Nah, middle of the day. It was like 2 p.m, I think. Total daylight.
So you're halfway through your running?
Yeah. Just at my first stop.
Yeah.
And then, three lads pull up on a motorbike. 2 of them get off, creep up the side of the door, bang it open, gun there, give us everything you got. And I was like, okay. So we lost our passports, we lost cameras, money. The boys lost their phones. Shocker, really.
Were you worried for your life in that moment, or?
Didn't really think about it like that. I was. Honest answer is I was actually more worried about how much stuff we were going to lose because we didn't have like much money, and losing a lot of the stuff would have been real bad news. So I was just like on damage limitation, like don't let him have that. Like don't let him have that. And
it's just your perfect head.
Yeah, don't take my apple and raspberry, mate. Like, come on now. But yeah,
you said you're more worried about losing the stuff than losing your life.
Yeah.
If you die, by default, you kind of lose your stuff.
That's true. That is true. I was, yeah. I wasn't really in that mode. I was just like,
yeah,
hide the stuff.
Well, so the guns come through the window. They've got in the van.
No, he's opened the door and then bowled up. I was sat there, and the boys are sat there, and they're just, they're speaking Portuguese.
Yeah, I guess you didn't have anyone.
No, Harry speaks a bit of Spanish, so he kind of got it a bit.
How did you recover from that? Like, obviously, did you have to replace stuff, or did you manage to get everything you needed?
The Angolans were actually top stuff because a few of the locals heard about what happened, and then they were like, they kept trying to sort us out, like replace some of our stuff and things. So it was, we got through it in the end, but it was a bit of a moment for the team. I think everyone was a bit riled by that.
Is that the toughest moment of the whole thing? Not the toughest. Is that the scariest moment?
I think as a team, it was probably one of the scariest things, getting a gunpoint in junior ed.
What was it like losing the passport then? Because that's obviously a big part of your mission.
Nightmare, man. That incident kind of set us back a couple of weeks. We had to really go and get a load of visas. Very long, basically.
Did you ever get in trouble with the police? Did they ever think you were doing something wrong?
Yeah, a few times. Quite a lot of times. We've all been in a bit of trouble, to be fair.
Are you looking at your team to see what should I say? Stan shit himself.
You didn't call him on yourself this time.
Nah, honestly, most of the police we dealt with have been totally unreal. Most of it's just misunderstandings. Like, I remember in Ivory Coast, they pulled me off the road, like, when I was running once. Like, they were like, who is this guy? Like, thinking I'm up to no good, like running about at night and stuff. They're like, what are you doing? They were like quite hostile, but it all got sorted in the end.
Do they ever take you to a station?
Yeah. Take you to a police station, and they normally bell up a few people, go like, we've got this guy, and then they check it all out, and it normally goes fine.
Yeah.
When you're getting taken from a specific part of your run,
are
you then just having to get back to that exact point to carry on
so it's
the
quite
run?
jarring, especially if it's like late at night and I'm like 70k deep, and then someone goes, I know you want to go to bed, mate, but hold on an hour, we need to take you to the police station or whatever. I'm like,
yeah. What do you do? Do you just get the YouTube channel up or anything, or like news?
I have flexed a BBC article one time in Nigeria. It worked.
That's not flexing it, though.
Did it work well as well?
They were like giving us a bit of like, they've just been along with us at the border, and I got the BBC article, mate, and they were like, oh, wow, and then they were all getting photos. Yeah.
And weren't you mistaken as a spy?
Ivory Coast, yeah. Yeah, that was.
Sorry, but you would be a mad if the government were picking spies.
I'm game. If the UK government wants to get in touch, I'm keen.
But not to be too judgmental, but the way you look,
you do stand out.
Yeah, you stand out
a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit. Give myself away, don't I?
Tell us about that then. Why did they think you were a spy?
They were just very confused about who I was, because I was at night running.
Yeah,
and tried to kind of explain to them. They weren't buying it. Thought it was like some kind of cover story, I think. And they chucked me into the police station.
It's the maddest cover story.
Yeah.
I'm not a spy, I'm running Africa.
Yeah.
It's all these conversations though. They're speaking French, I'm speaking English. I ain't got much French in the locker. Bonjour, monsieur.
That's
Ça va bien.
Come see, come say.
Yeah, Spanish, I think. Is that Spanish? I think it's Spanish. Yeah.
Ça va. Oui,
Lizzie,
ça va.
is that Spanish? Come see, come say. French. Oh, okay, it's French. It's French.
I don't even know.
He doesn't know French.
Yeah.
Did you ever spend the night in a cell then, or?
Nah. Did we spend a night in a cell?
We spent a night at the forensics place.
Oh yeah.
What's
We've done a few like long, drawn out stints in police stations and things. Like
Right.
Algeria, we just had one a couple of weeks back. I think they thought our passports were. I don't know what was going on there.
What are they doing
They thought you
forensic?
thought-
They
Forged your
literally,
passport.
mate, it was the maddest thing I've ever seen. We've sat there like midnight in an Algerian police station. There's about 30 cops there, and they've got a guy in like proper, like full-on white jackets going through our passports. I'm like,
What's he trying to
bro,
find? What's he trying to find?
I don't know. I was like, I'm trying to run here, boys. And it was annoying
I'm
because
trying to run it, boys. What an understatement.
it was annoying because they pulled me off the road at 35k, which meant for the last 4 days of the mission, I had to do on average 84k a day.
I was fucking hell.
Bit much. Yeah.
How many setbacks did you have in terms of like when were you planning to finish and when you actually finished?
So he was planning to finish by Christmas. It's not Christmas, is it?
No, it's not
Really
Christmas.
summer now, isn't it? So yeah, originally I was going to try and do 360 marathons in 240 days, but didn't quite work out that way, unfortunately.
Bottled it, didn't you?
Yeah, bottled it hard. Not good enough.
I think it still counts.